Have you ever noticed it? In a quiet moment, perhaps looking at someone across a room, a friend, a stranger, a family member, you see a certain light in their eyes. Not a bright, flashy, look at me kind of light, but a deep, steady, ancient glow. It's a look of profound stillness, a calm that seems to emanate from the very core of their being. And you find yourself thinking, that person is strong. Not strong in the way a weightlifter is strong, not loud or boastful. Theirs is a silent strength, a strength that has been earned. And almost without fail, if you were to learn their story, you would find that it is a story woven with threads of immense difficulty, of profound loss, of suffering that would have shattered a lesser spirit into 1,000 pieces. And this presents us with a most peculiar paradox, doesn't it? Because the world we've built, the game we've all agreed to play, teaches us the exact opposite. It tells us that strength is the absence of suffering. Strength, we are told, is the perfect career, the unbroken smile, the flawless family photo, the life without cracks or scars. Suffering, on the other hand, is seen as a failure, a weakness, a problem to be solved, medicated, hidden away, or overcome as quickly as possible. We are taught to fear it, to run from it, to present to the world a version of ourselves that has never been touched by the dark. So you try to play this game. You try to wear the mask of invulnerability. You try to pretend that the ghosts of your past don't walk beside you, that the weight in your heart is just a passing mood. But what if I were to tell you that this deep, quiet ache you sometimes feel, this weariness that seems to settle in your bones, this feeling of being an old soul in a world obsessed with the new? What if I told you this isn't a sign that you are broken? What if it is, in fact, the clearest possible signal that you are becoming unbroken? What if the suffering you have endured was not a detour from your path, but the path itself? What if the very things you have been taught to see as your greatest weaknesses are, in truth, the bedrock of your most profound and unshakable strength? You see, the fundamental misunderstanding lies in the nature of the game itself. The society we've constructed is a magnificent piece of theater. It's a grand stage production where everyone has been handed a script at birth. The script says, pursue happiness, avoid pain, accumulate success, display confidence. The goal is to perform your role so convincingly that you forget you are acting. The most applauded actors are those who never break character, who smile the widest, who laugh the loudest, who never, ever let the audience see the exhaustion behind their eyes. Strength in this play is measured by the quality of your performance. And for a time, you played your part. You learned your lines. You smiled on cue. You chased the spotlight of approval, believing that if you just performed well enough, you would finally feel whole. You would finally be deemed strong. But then, something happened. Life did not follow the script. It introduced unwritten scenes of heartbreak, of failure, of grief, of betrayal. It forced you off the stage and into the raw, unscripted reality of existence. And in that reality, the polished masks and memorized lines were useless. You were left with nothing but the truth of your own pain. And here is the crucial point. Your suffering wasn't the problem. The problem was that you were trying to reconcile an authentic, painful experience with a fundamentally inauthentic play. Your exhaustion doesn't come from the suffering itself. It comes from the monumental, soul-crushing effort of trying to drag your true, scarred self back onto that brightly lit stage and pretend you were never gone. It's the effort of trying to make your face fit the smiling mask after you've spent the night weeping. It's the effort of trying to speak the cheerful, hollow lines from the script when your heart is screaming a deep, silent truth. The disconnect you feel, that sense of alienation from the happily performing crowd, is not a symptom of your sickness. It is the symptom of your returning health. It is the natural, sane reaction of a conscious being to a collective, anesthetic dream. You are not failing the game, you are simply starting to wake up from it. Let us look closer at this transformation. Let us take these things you believe to be your scars, your flaws, your burdens, and hold them up to the light. Let us see what they truly are. Consider first this feeling of being too sensitive. This has been a criticism leveled against you, perhaps even one you've leveled against yourself. You feel things too deeply. A sad song can undo you for an entire afternoon. The casual cruelty of the world feels like a personal wound. You absorb the moods of others like a sponge, and the sheer volume of unspoken pain in a crowded room can feel deafening. The script says this is a weakness. It says you must develop a thicker skin. You must learn to not let things get to you. But let's re-examine this. What is sensitivity, really? It is the capacity of an instrument to register a signal. A crude, simple instrument can only register loud, obvious signals. A child's toy drum can only be banged upon. But a Stradivarius violin, a masterpiece of sensitivity, can respond to the slightest touch of the bow, the most subtle shift in humidity, and produce a sound of heartbreaking beauty. It can translate the ineffable into music. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is the high resolution of your consciousness. You are not too sensitive. You are merely finely tuned. The world is not too much for you. The world is, for most people, not enough. They are living in a low-resolution reality of black and white certainties, while you are experiencing the full, overwhelming, and breathtaking spectrum of what it means to be alive. The strength that comes from this is not the strength of a fortress wall that feels nothing. It is the flexible, resilient strength of a spider's web, which is so sensitive it can feel the faintest tremor, and by feeling it, it survives. Your empathy, born from the memory of your own pain, allows you to truly connect with others, to see past their masks, to understand their unspoken truths. This is not weakness. This is a form of seeing, a form of knowing that is a superpower in a world dying of numbness. Now, let us consider the feeling of solitude that so often accompanies deep suffering. You feel a chasm between yourself and others. You sit at a dinner party, surrounded by laughter and chatter about trivial things, promotions, vacations, the latest television series, and you feel as though you are separated from them by a wall of glass. You can see them, you can hear them, but you cannot reach them. The language they speak feels foreign. Their concerns seem small, not because you are arrogant, but because you have been to a place they have not. You have journeyed into the underworld of your own soul and have returned, and the journey changes you. It is impossible to come back and be truly interested in the gossip of the village square. The world calls this isolation. It pathologizes it. It tells you that you need to get out more, to be more social. It sees your quietness as a sign of depression. But what if this is not isolation, but filtration? What if your soul, having tasted the profound, can no longer stomach the superficial? The small talk feels like a lie, a distraction from the immense, terrifying, and beautiful reality that you now know is humming beneath the surface of everything. Your solitude is not a prison, it is a sanctuary. It is a sacred space you have earned, where you are no longer required to perform. In that silence, you are not lonely. You are finally in good company. You have ceased to be a scattered crowd of social roles and have begun to become a single, integrated self. The strength born of this is the strength of integrity. It is the quiet power of a mountain that does not need the approval of the fleeting clouds that pass by. It simply is. You have stopped begging for a seat at tables where you don't belong and have built your own. And while it may have only one chair for now, it is a throne. And what about this loss of naivety, this quality that others might mistake for cynicism? You no longer believe in simple answers. You don't trust charismatic leaders, grand ideologies, or promises of permanent happiness. You see the hidden agendas, the fear behind the bravado, the fragility in the systems that claim to be eternal. You have seen the bottom fall out once before, and you know it can happen again. The script celebrates optimism, a childlike faith in the system. Your clear-eyed realism is seen as negative, as pessimistic. But this is not cynicism, it is clarity. Cynicism is the bitter disappointment of a naive person. Clarity is the calm acceptance of a wise one. You are not bitter, you are simply no longer blind. You have traded a comforting illusion for a difficult but far more solid truth. Imagine a person watching a magic show. The child gasps, believing the woman was truly sawn in half. The naive adult is fooled and impressed. But the person who understands the trick, who sees the hidden mirrors and trapdoors, is not cynical. They have a deeper appreciation. They are not appreciating the illusion of magic. They are appreciating the artistry, the skill, the psychology of the performance. You see the world in this way. You see the trick of the social game. And this clarity gives you an incredible advantage. You are no longer easily manipulated. You cannot be seduced by hollow promises. You can navigate the world with a calm awareness, discerning what is real from what is merely performance. This strength is the strength of discernment. It is the ability to walk through a hall of mirrors without ever losing sight of yourself. You are the one person in the theater who knows it's a play, and that knowledge sets you free. Let's speak of the exhaustion, the deep, soul-level weariness that you carry. It's not the simple tiredness that comes after a day of physical labor. It is a profound fatigue. It feels ancient. It is the weight of all the battles you have fought, especially the ones no one else could see. The world sees this as burnout, as a lack of vitality. It offers you 5 simple steps to boost your energy, a new diet, a productivity hack. It assumes your engine is broken. It fails to understand that your engine is not broken. It is simply a far larger and more powerful engine than most. And it has just completed a monumental journey. This is not the fatigue of failure. It is the honorable fatigue of the Creator. A person who has built nothing is never tired. A person who has risked nothing is never wounded. Your weariness is a testament to the sheer scale of the inner work you have done. You have been demolishing old, rotten structures within yourself, beliefs that no longer served you, identities that were not yours. And you have been building something new in their place. You have been forging a soul. This is the most difficult work a human being can do. It is the work of an alchemist, turning the lead of suffering into the gold of wisdom. So of course you are tired. Your hands are calloused. Your spirit is weary. But you are not weary because you are weak. You are weary because you have been doing the work of giants. This is the strength of endurance. It's the quiet hum of a machine that has been tested to its limits and has not broken. It is the peace that comes after the great war has been won, the war for your own soul. And finally, consider your relationship with darkness. You are no longer afraid of it. You do not run from sadness, your own or others. You can sit with grief without needing to fix it. You can talk about death, about endings, about pain, with a calm that unnerves people who are still frantically playing the positive vibes only game. They may see you as morbid, as melancholic. They are like children whistling in a graveyard, desperate to keep the silence at bay. You, however, have learned that the shadow is not the enemy of the light. It is its dance partner. You cannot have one without the other. You understand that a life without sorrow is a life without depth, just as a painting without shadow is a flat, lifeless cartoon. You have discovered that many of the most beautiful and profound truths can only be seen in the dark. It is in the darkness of loss that you discovered what you truly loved. It is in the darkness of failure that you discovered your own resilience. It is in the darkness of despair that you were forced to find a light within yourself, a light you never knew you had. Your strength, then, is the strength of wholeness. You have embraced the totality of your experience. You are not just the sunny daytime self you present to the world. You are also the vast, star-filled night sky of your inner life. A tree's stability comes not just from its branches reaching for the sun, but from its roots gripping the dark, unseen earth. Your suffering has given you roots, and because you are so deeply rooted in the truth of reality, all of it, the light and the dark, you are the one who remains standing when the great winds of change begin to blow. And so a new kind of peace begins to settle within you. It is not the giddy, fragile happiness that the world chases. That happiness is dependent on external conditions, on getting the promotion, on receiving the compliment, on the sun shining. It is a peace that is independent of circumstance. It is the quiet stillness at the center of the hurricane. The world can rage around you, the play can continue with all its noise and drama, but you have found a place of refuge within. You stop fighting. You stop trying to fix yourself. You stop apologizing for your depth, for your silence, for your scars. You realize the goal was never to arrive at a destination without scars. The goal was to become a person who is strong enough to bear them with grace. The strength is not in the absence of wounds, but in the knowing that you can and will survive them. There is a power in this that is quiet, immense, and utterly your own. You become a calming presence for others because you are no longer afraid of their pain. You can look into the eyes of someone who is suffering and not flinch, because you are looking at a reflection of a landscape you know well. You don't offer them platitudes or easy answers. You offer them something far more rare and precious, the silent, solid presence of someone who has been there and who knows that they too will survive. The solitude may remain. In many ways, it must. A person who sees the world as it is will always be a little apart from those who are content with the illusion. But it is no longer a painful loneliness. It is a dignified solitude. It is the quiet sovereignty of one who has reclaimed their own kingdom. You realize that you were never broken. You were being forged. You were being tempered in the fires of reality. All that suffering was not a punishment. It was a crucible. It was the universe's demanding and deeply loving way of making you into something real, something true, something that could not be broken by the cheap and brittle rules of a make-believe game. So the next time you feel that old ache, that weariness, that sense of being different, do not mistake it for a flaw. Do not rush to fix it or to hide it. Stop, be still, and look at it. See it for what it is. It is the ghost of a battle you have already won. It is the echo of the hammer that shaped you. It is the price you paid for your own eyes. Those scars are not marks of damage. They are the intricate, beautiful map of your journey home to yourself. And they are the proof, the undeniable proof, that you are one of the strong ones.